folks are capitulating, could be a good time to buy. On the other hand, Bitcoin whales are selling, a sign more passionate Bitcoin believers are exiting, and the downturn will slide deeper. Which is it?
It's hard to tell with Bitcoin, so it's such a speculative asset. The price action is dependent on so many things. We invest our clients' money in Bitcoin and Ether exclusively, and using strategies like dollar cost averaging, tax loss harvesting, and asset allocation, you can really minimize these price impacts over time. But I would say that the number one thing that people are looking at this week is definitely the Fed meeting.
All right. So yeah, we got a big summer week for financial markets. What will happen? What are you watching for at the FOMC happening this week? There's a GDP reading as well happening on Thursday. What are wealth managers looking at?
It's going to be all eyes to see if, the Fed is going to remain as hawkish as they are. Bitcoin has been increasingly correlated to equities, specifically growth equities like in the NASDAQ market. We're seeing that it's, not really the inflation hedge that a lot of academics thought it was, and more of a risk on assets. So if we see the Fed increasing rates, they're expected to do 75 basis points. But let's say that on the off chance that they do 100, it would see a pretty shock to the Bitcoin market, and as well as the rest of the markets around the world. $20,000 has remained a really strong support level, and it has been for quite a few weeks now. And I could see us, losing that if the Fed does come out and has a more hawkish tone.
I'm curious what you describe as a good, investment profile for Bitcoin right now, because, the narrative has been that Bitcoin is this inflation hedge. It's an alternative option to the traditional financial system, yet it's moving in tandem with markets, a lot like a risk asset. So I wonder, what is the right investment profile?
Yeah, it depends because everyone's different, right? And we're actually one of the only wealth management firms in the entire country that allows clients to custodian their Bitcoin directly. And I think that that's super important, that you're investing in Bitcoin directly and not necessarily through public markets or things that might have a premium or discount at times. And so really building in a risk profile into each person, making sure that you have the right asset allocation, that you're not putting your emergency fund into Bitcoin or you're over allocated into crypto.
What kind of asset allocation are you recommending?
Yeah, typically we see no more than 5% for most of our clients. Again, these are across portfolios with stocks and bonds as well as crypto. But typically we don't want to see, since it is such a speculative asset, no more than 5% in our portfolios right now.
Another story we're tracking is Tesla, and I wonder, what will institutions and corporations make of Tesla's recent gains alongside their impairment charges on current holdings of BTC? Is BTC attractive for corporate treasuries?
The Tesla story is certainly interesting. Our firm is well known for our coverage on Tesla. Unfortunately, a lot of this is theatrics, right? We think that, obviously it's a distraction from the business right now. It gave them some gains. Now it's maybe looking at some losses. Ultimately, if they are going to hold it for the long term and they believe that, it's an asset on their balance sheet that's going to produce value for shareholders, then we're on board. But, having these wild price swings is just not really great for a traditional EV vehicle company, but Tesla is really anything but traditional, so we'll see how the story ends up.